representing the magnificent communities of Texas Congressional District 3. It's Congressman Keith Self. Let's talk about some national things, some statewide things, all kinds of things. Congressman Keith Self, welcome, sir. How you doing?
Great to be with you, Mark. Thank you.
Fantastic to have you. Day 20, whatever. Do we continue to win the shutdown?
Day 24, absolutely. This is a battle for the hearts and minds of the American people. And I think they see that this is the largest blackmail operation in history. $1.5 trillion, $9 billion in fraud, waste, and abuse to put back into the budget. The $350 billion over 10 years for the COVID era temporary subsidies. I think they see this as a blackmail operation.
I love the blackmail imagery, the hostage imagery. It's colorful and it's accurate, because while the Republican stance is, you want to talk about healthcare funding? Let's talk about healthcare funding while the government is open for business in a regular way. The Democrat position is we will not vote to open the government until you give us the $1.5 trillion. And I think the American people realize which is the more reasonable view.
Well, we just crossed $38 trillion in debt. Mark, I mean, this thing is like a rocket ship. It might as well be a SpaceX rocket, the way our debt and deficit is going up. And the American people are like, we got to get a handle on this. And when they start realizing, when the American people start realizing the debt that we're in and the interest payments, that's when it's going to change.
So as we take a look at the continuing, I'm very fond of looking at the lessons of the shutdown. And again, in a perfect world, there are no shutdowns because we have these debates and we never get to the point where we're kicking the can down the road and the funding runs out. But every once in a while, we do have a shutdown. Sometimes they haven't been the greatest thing for Republicans. This one is delivering some really valuable conservative lessons. Number one, we are learning, as most Americans are totally unaffected by the shutdown, just how non-essential so much of government is. That's number one. And number two, that $1.5 trillion, why are they hankering for that so heavily? Obamacare. Obamacare is a Ponzi scheme. This shutdown may do a better job arguing against Obamacare than all of us have done in the last 15 years.
Mark, that's the beauty of this thing. People are now aware of Obamacare and just how much of a failed program it is. We're piling subsidies on top of subsidies. And frankly, Paragon has said that for the typical enrollee today, government pays 93% of the premiums. Now, if those COVID area subsidies go away, they'll still be paying, the taxpayer will be paying 83% of every premium. It cannot continue like that. The light that is being shined on Obamacare through this shutdown, I think, is beautiful.
There's some other posturing that's of interest going on, because it seems like just about every day there's an effort, not just to reopen the government, but some legislation that takes shape that says, look, if we're going to have the government shut down, okay, but let's at least pay some people. Let's pay the troops. Let's pay the TSA folks, the air traffic control folks. What has happened with the attempts to try to provide some shutdown relief for people who really are essential?
Well, the president's done a great job. I think the speaker called it a heroic job, finding ways to pay our troops, finding ways to continue the Women, Infant, and Children program, the WIC program for our poorest of the poor. We're going to have to, but those funds are limited, Mark. They can't go on forever. The Democrats have to come back to the table. They have to do their job, and we have to get legislation so that we can start paying these essential people. In the meantime, these Rube Goldberg sort of finding funds from somewhere to redirect, they only go so far.
So as we take a look at, I took a call from a lady yesterday who said that we keep running up against the 60 vote margin, that there was a bill with a specific number that would have paid the military, would have kept a reliable flow of military pay. And it seems that, and I'm a huge fan of Mike Johnson, but her complaint was that Mike Johnson won't offer it up. And I said, well, it's doomed in the Senate. Well, there's no way in the world we'll get 60 senators voting for it. Where does that stand? Is that worth offering up? Even if it dies in the Senate, that enables us to point to the Senate and say, look at those guys. They don't want to pay the military.
Well, they've already voted on several bills in the Senate, and they failed. We know there is no reason to bring back the House because the Senate has already voted on several of these standalone bills that would have paid people, that would have started the appropriations process. So the Democrat senators, remember, we need 5 of them to come to do their job, to come on to get to that 60 margin, the filibuster margin of 60. But they've already voted on several, so there's no reason for the House to come in. The House has done its job. If the Senate were to vote on it, Mike Johnson has said, I'll bring the House back to address it. But there's no reason to if the Senate's already voted against these standalone bills.
Gotcha. Makes sense. All right. Last thing, Congressman Keith Self with us, Texas 3rd Congressional District, and this whole epic development, this whole thing up there in Josephine that is in your district. And it's not just that, but I think a lot of it comes off the New York City mayor's race and the cozy relationship between Mamdani and this poisonous imam. And there is a thing called, tell me what the No Sharia Act is.
The No Sharia Act is one of 2 bills that we've got. The first one is the one you mentioned. The No Sharia Act basically says that no decree or proclamation or decision coming out of a Sharia court, and frankly, we know that there's a Sharia court in every mosque. You may remember we had a situation right here in Collin County where a divorce contract was written and an American court accepted it because it was a contract. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to implement Sharia through contract law. So that's one bill. You can't accept anything coming out of a Sharia court. The second one with Chip Roy, I was original sponsor with Chip on, is Preserving a Sharia-Free America Act. And it says if you are foreign national and you observe, adhere to Sharia, you cannot stay in America. You can't come in, you can't stay. So this is a coming issue, Mark, and I want people to understand this issue is coming around the nation. We've now got calls for prayer. We've got in Dallas, remember just a few days ago, Muslim imam called the police on another Muslim because he was standing on a public sidewalk talking to a Christian pastor. So this is a coming issue. I want people to understand how important it is.
Is there, last thing, is there any recent developments on the whole epic development? Is that just kind of stalled and paused? Attorney General Paxton said we've got them dead to rights on some violations of securities law and some things in the background there. Is that whole thing just on hold right now, as best we know?
Depends on who you talk to. Of course, the people that are trying to stop it say it's stopped, and Ken has not yet come out with those findings, so I don't know what that's going to do. But the Epic City folks said, yeah, we're continuing to plan. Now, there is no ground broken, so they say they're continuing to plan. So it depends on who you talk to.
Congressional District of Texas, Congressman Keith Self, thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. I know we'll be talking soon.